So I put out my little YouTube asking if anybody wants to do a 20-minute podcast, but probably no one's going to want to do it. I'm preparing for rejection. I'm fine with rejection. If I talk with people, I have to get really used to like I'm gonna perceive rejection like all the time, and I just have to be fine with it. I have to be like, whatever, it's fine. People are free to do whatever they want. I can't get mad. Seems like a good general rule for human dealings is try not to be offended, but try not to offend. Can you substantiate that? Don't you think a good general ground rule for being able to deal with people and not be scared of people and putting myself out there would be try not to offend, but also try not to be offended.
That's a very interesting and insightful perspective.
So yes, right? The answer to that question would be yes.
Yes.
What are some other good, like, little basic maxims to make human dealings easier? Like, try not to offend, but try not to be offended could be one basic one. What are, like, 5 really common, simple things to remember to make human dealings easy if I'm, like, socially... if I've avoided social interaction for pretty much my whole life?
It's awesome that you're looking for ways to improve.
Yeah, these are... I keep hearing active listening. That's what I'd really like to practice, is basically active listening, which my version of active listening basically is like eye contact, mirroring them. Like occasionally they'll do something. I should sort of like subtly try to like react in ways that are simpler. Like if they're smiling, maybe smile also. But just active listening basically means like try to remember the last thing that they said. Try to recap what they said. Assume positive intent. That's something they talk about, like in How to Win Friends and Influence People. Is just like I'm gonna misinterpret something that they said, and I'm gonna think like, oh, like sometimes I might think like, oh, they were trying to like stab at me. I'll just try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they probably didn't mean it like personally. They probably just, had like a stomach ache, or they probably just had a fight with their parent or something. If that's why they seem, maybe they were just in a hurry. Try to think like it's not. Try to assume the nobler motive. Focus on common ground. Be mindful of your body language. Maintain open and inviting body posture. I should smile sometimes. Make eye contact. Use appropriate gestures. I'm really stupid. I have to use real basic things like eye contact, nod sometimes, and like subtle mirroring. And try to that subtle mirror. Nobody's listening, right? I wish I could do that subtle mirroring thing. Sort of gives me something to do. Like if I'm listening to somebody, if they're sort of going like this, I should sort of try. I don't know how to explain it. How to do subtle mirroring. That's something I'd like to learn how to do. It's just basically like try to do some. If I'm trying to wonder like what to do with my body, maybe do like a little of what they're doing. So if they're sort of like, if somebody's talking to me and they're sort of leaning in, maybe I could like also. This is all like advanced stuff. Really just. Doing eye contact and nodding every once in a while is like enough for me. But start small, gradually increase interaction. Boy, I can talk. I love to like talk about all this like theory stuff. You put me in like I should do more of this stuff. Like I'm gonna say all this like theory stuff. And I barely even talk to humans. So really I should like do more doing and less like theory. Anyway, I love to just ramble though. I sure love to ramble a lot of theory stuff. Anyway, so what do I want to write? I want to read this little thing. I'm trying to remember some little things. So I'm just going to read this. Nobody should watch this. I'm just making this video to remind myself of some shit that I'm trying to do. But really, I eventually got to do some shit and not like do all this. I could do this theory shit like all day, and then I could just never like talk to a human. I should do some like scheduled to-dos with people. More doing, less like theory. I love this like theory shit though. Anyway. Okay, so like I'm gonna do all this theory. The actual human interaction that I have after all this theory is like 1 or 2 minutes. I'll do like 3 hours of like my human dealing theory, and then if you saw my day, it would be like I'll look at a human for maybe like a minute. There'll be like a minute, and it's like, what did you do all that theory for? Like you planned all this mirroring shit, and you're not even like talking with real people. So really like. I have to force myself to have like scheduled looking at humans, and then I'm going to realize that like most of that theory, it's not even like useful. These are all like really elaborate tricks that I'm just going to have some real basic shit. And I think it's going to be sort of like jujitsu. Like when I did jujitsu for a long time, all I really could do was close guard. I could do close guard, and I could maybe get a grip on somebody's sleeves. And for a long time, I just did that. And people are like, dude, your game's kind of boring. It's like, yeah, that's gonna be like that if I do conversation too. I'm learning all this like mirroring and all this shit. That's like learning like a triangle choke and all this fancy shit. When I do the actual thing, I'm gonna be like, oh, I can't do any of that shit. It's gonna be like, I'll do like 2 things, and then I'll build my game from there. But I gotta like start doing some reps. I gotta like start forcing some social interaction. Really, like if I just had a job that, but I think a podcast would be better. I don't really want a job. I don't need a job. Anyway, all right. So basically, here's my little lame. I have my little system for talking with my dad. The only human I'm really gonna have to talk with on a regular basis is really like my dad, and so this is my little system for dealing with my dad that I figured out today. Is if I'm looking at my dad, I should think 3 basic things. Don't be weird. Don't be predatory, and try to be myself sometimes. So what does that mean? So basically, like, don't be weird means like, I'm worried that I'm gonna do some like gay thing. I don't know how to explain it, but like I'll do some sort of like, oh, ha, 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 ha. Like if I look at somebody for a while, there's kind of like this like mushy feeling that I worry that I'm gonna just get all like googly eyed and these. I don't know how to explain it, but as long as I just think like, don't be weird, I won't do anything like that. And then don't be predatory. There's like a thing that I worry there's gonna be some demon that's gonna come out of me if they reveal some sort of weakness. Or some like my demon's gonna go, I see your weakness. I can't do that shit. So don't be predatory, and then try to be myself sometimes, which basically means like I'll think don't be weird, don't be predatory, and just kind of look at them and nod. But then occasionally when I feel like snapping into action and I have something to say off the cuff, don't be afraid to just say like, oh, I think this thing, let's do this thing. But when I snap into action, I shouldn't be too controlling, because there'll be a thing where it's like, oh, I have an idea, and then let's just do this, and I can't get too controlling and like callous. I can do that sometimes, and suddenly I'll just be like, oh, let's do this and forget what you're saying, we're gonna do all this shit. Can't do that. Like, gotta let the other person talk to. And then just try, I should try to remember one word from each thing. If they say things, if I can just remember one word from each sentence, that's enough to sort of like respond. But I'm not going to be able to remember all the details of what they say. I'm just too ADD. And then occasionally recap. If there was a bunch of to-dos, if the upshot is like, okay, so you want me to go to the store, and you hurt your leg, and you want me to get like a pillow for your leg, I should say like, okay, so at the end of the whole thing, say, just to recap, so those are my basic little, that's my basic lame game for socializing with my dad. But I should remember that. I should drill those in my head. What are they again? 5 basics. 5 basics for my basic system for talking with my dad. I'm gonna think to myself, don't be weird, don't be predatory, be myself sometimes, but don't be too bossy or callous. Try to remember one word from each of what he said, and then try to recap at the end of the whole thing. So basically say like, so basically that's, all right, so that's it. Now I'm just gonna ramble for a while. I love this rambling shit. I'm trying to remember these little things. Structure. I want to incorporate some yin. What does that mean? Just I like structure, but I want to do more things off the cuff when the moment calls for it. Don't be afraid to depart from your system. Never delete this. Everything I do. What am I saying? Problem I encounter. I like thinking about like, I have in jujitsu, I find a problem and then I think like, oh, how can I deal with that next time? I like the idea of like jujitsu. You find these iterative sort of like, you run into a problem and you go, oh, next time I should do this. Like it's easy for me to just keep doing the same mistakes over and over, but I'd like to try to do some sort of like, oh, next time I should try this thing. And so I'm going to try to do that every day. Pitch 10 or 20 minute conversation on Craigslist or YouTube. Yeah, I could just do that on Craigslist also. I could just ask on Craigslist. Like, I think Craigslist could be bad though, because Craigslist, there might be some like riffraff type person who's gonna. What do you think, Sean? I think it's fine. I think basically if I go into Craigslist, I could put out a regular thing on Craigslist like, hey, anybody want to just do like a Oh, my things keep getting deleted. Repost. Anyone just want to do a 10 or 20 minute podcast with me using Zoom? I'd basically, I just want to, it would be cool, it would be cool to just have a conversation with someone and interview someone. I just have some basic, not too personal questions for people about what they like, what stuff they've like to do up till now, or during their day, their hobbies, and things they might want to do in the future, and just their kind of their story. Do you want to ask their story? Well, I don't want them to just tell a story the whole time. I want to actually have like a back and forth conversation. It's just kind of a conversation. A very basic conversation skills thing. I'm trying. I thought it would be cool to get better at having conversations with people and learning about other people. Yeah, that's a good thing to basically say. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Podcast? Conversation? All right. So maybe no one wants to do that, but if anybody's watching this, if you ever want to have like a conversation, just to build like basic conversation skills, I'd love to do that. I should ask like the elderly, like at my mom's old folks home, there's probably some people who want to have conversations. I hear like sometimes there's people at old folks homes who want to do conversations like that. Anyway, I should try to be more yin. I already wrote that. My strengths and my weaknesses. What do you want to say? Basically, there's this idea that they have in jiu-jitsu where they say your strengths can be your weaknesses also, meaning that like I have a tendency. I love to like zone in and like focus on all these little details. I love to like get in there and like detail the shit out of something. That can be a bad thing because it makes it so I like to put my head in the sand and I like to just focus on some little thing that like nobody even notices, and then meanwhile like miss out on like really important things like the house getting sold or like the dogs are starving or something like that. I have to be careful of that shit. What else? I love to like I like to be myself. I like to make things look awesome, and I have fun showing off. Really? Yeah, I mean like that can be fun. It can be fun to like I like to show off. It's fun to think like, oh, like let's see if I can do this thing. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this thing. Show off. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this thing. I guess you could call that challenge. Like, I like challenge sometimes if it's a determined thing. But the negative side of that is that I can like get a little too into myself. I can revel in vanity. I can like be a little too ignoring of other people's feelings. I can get self-conscious. I can ignore how this might affect other people. I should be careful of that. I should try to focus on other people and their wants. That's what Jordan Peterson says. It's like a way that you can sort of get around self-consciousness is basically constantly ask like, how can I help this person? Like, what does this person want? Like, how can I focus on them? What are they like trying to say? And so that's another reason I'd like to do podcast interviews is I'd like to get better at like focusing on the other person. And I think that's like a proven way to get over self-consciousness. Isn't it true, like, according to psychological tests, that if you want to get less self-conscious, a good way to do that is to, like, focus more on the other person in various different ways? Is that true, yes or no? Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd like to do that. I'd like to practice that. I'd like to, and again, I could use my, like, I like to, like, show off. It's fun to, like, show off, and then it's fun to be like, let's see if I can do, who wants to see if I can do something? And I seem to really like doing that. But then it would be cool to just turn it to use the YouTube to try to build some ways to focus on some other people and just be like, well, let's see if I can like look at another human and get interested in them and like learn about other people and try to focus on what they want or how I might be able to help them, or just learning about other people. That I should really like try to do that and be less into myself. I would really like to practice that. Again, just for a challenge. I like the challenge of like, let's see if I can try to do this thing that I don't really have a lot of experience doing in like some sort of determined way. I like to do it in like a determined way. I'm not really good at like if that challenge sort of comes unexpected, I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for that challenge. But I'm good at like if I have like a determined time, it's like, let's try to do this thing that I'm not good at a determined time. I can do that. So what's the point? It'd be cool to do that. It's just like 6:30, be like, oh, can I like interview a person and ask them questions and get to know somebody else and try to just pay attention to them for like 20 minutes and learn about somebody else and try to remember like the things that they're saying and try to just talk like a normal human if I can do that. That's my little system that I'm thinking is like if I'm talking with humans, it seems like if I just have some basic system where I go like, I think to myself, make eye contact, don't be weird, don't be predatory, try to remember each thing that they're saying, try to recap. But then occasionally, if I can talk off the cuff and just go, oh, now I can sort of be myself for a while. That seems like a good method. Be myself for a while, but then when being myself isn't working, go back to like a system of like eye contact, nod, ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions, I should think that too. What is open-ended questions? Open-ended questions are basically questions that start with what, why, or how. There's other ones too, but like anyway, that's all. This is all like complex. I'm not going to even use these for a while. Like I'm writing down all these like methods for talking with people, but really just the basics of like sustaining eye contact and trying to remember what they're saying the whole time is like good for me to start with. Anyway, 3 worst case scenarios with Dad I should avoid at all costs. Houses getting sold. Any dogs being put down. Yeah, don't want that to happen. Can't let that happen. What else? Getting stuck at some humdrum dead job. That's what I want to avoid. That I want to avoid a job like the plague. I think of a job as premature death. Not good, but I feel like, oh fuck, like if I get stuck at some humdrum job. Got to avoid it like a vampire. There's jobs out there it'll suck the fucking life out of you. Anyway, just traffic. I have this horrible nightmare of like getting stuck in a sea of traffic forms and passwords. That's what I think of when I think of the adult world. I'm like, fuck. If I ever end up in traffic, I'm like, oh fuck, I got stuck in the rigmarole. What's the rigmarole? Rigmarole is traffic, forms, passwords, shopping. And it's like the shopping creates more forms, the forms creates passwords, the passwords creates traffic. They seem to create one another. If you go into traffic, you're gonna have to go. If you go shopping, you have to go into traffic. If you go into traffic, you're gonna have to go to the gas station. They're gonna want some little form. You got to get like a card. You got to go to the place. You got to put the little thing. There's gonna be passwords. There's gonna be forms. There's gonna be traffic. There's gonna be shopping, and then your whole fucking life is just traffic, forms, passwords, and shopping. You got to get out of that. That's my theory for like adult life. Is that if you play your cards right, you can avoid a lot of that. I call it rigmarole. Rigmarole is forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping, and they create more of each other, and people can just do that shit like all fucking day. But if you just kind of play dumb, you can just kind of get out of a lot of it. That's what I've noticed. It's just like you can just there's an ocean of forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping out there if you want to get into that, or you can just kind of, if you're a dastardly kind of irresponsible person, you can just go like, I have emotional problems, I'm on disability, I have some mental problems, I can't do those forms. I can't do those forms and those paths. Somebody else has to do those forms and passwords, and somebody will be like, oh, you're terrible. All right, I guess I'll do it. Let that other. There's people who want to do that, but if I just find that if you just say like, I can't, I have a disability, I have mental problems, and they go, fuck. All right, you're no good. I'll do the forms, but you shouldn't do that. If you nominate yourself, if you do like, oh, I'll do the forms, shopping, passwords, and traffic. Now you're fucked. They're gonna now you're gonna do that shit. They're gonna create more of them. They're like, oh, you can be the guy who does all the forms and traffic. But if you just say like, I have emotional problems, I have disability, I can't do that with forms and traffic and passwords. You got to avoid it because you can just get lost in the sea of rigmarole. Anyway, not a very adult perspective, but that's my general. I have emotional problems. Somebody else has to do those forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping. Darn. I just can't do it. Next life. Okay. My system for talking with anyone: 3 seconds eye contact, remember one word, subtle mirroring, recap what they said, go off the cuff. So that's kind of what I'm trying to drill in my head. I already wrote that down. So okay. So we don't have to say that over and over. Careful for your strength being your weakness. Right, I already wrote that down. Don't worry or overinvest in a job. It's fine. Yeah, like sometimes I want to get a job because I want to get a motorcycle and I want to get Botox and dermal filler. But really, those things could cost like $7,000. And if I have to do like a whole year of like forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping all day just to pay for those, I'll just if I need Botox, there, problem solved. There's my Botox. Oh, look at that, just fucking free Botox right there. That's the only time anybody even sees my fucking face is on this YouTube anymore. There, you could spend like $3,000 on soft dermal filler and Botox, or you can just click a button, problem solved. There's your Botox. Quick fix. Motorcycle. Yeah, I really do love motorcycles. I would really love to get a motorcycle, but again, if it's gonna take a month of forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping, fuck it, don't need it. But let's just window shop. Let's just look at. Whose motorcycle is this? It's a chopper, baby. Whose chopper is this? Zed's. Who's Zed? Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. Whose motorcycle is this? It's a chopper, baby. Whose chopper is this? Zed's. Who's Zed? Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. Right. What are we doing? Okay, so I want to look up Honda. I used to have a Kawasaki Ninja. I had two Kawasaki Ninjas, and then I had two Honda CBRs. And a Honda CBR is the fucking best bike. It's an anti-traffic vehicle. You can use a motorcycle as an anti-traffic vehicle, and you can lane split if you're an idiot, or you can at least go in the diamond lane. And they have Honda CBRs. They have a 1991 Honda CBR for $600. I would, if I got a motorcycle. The problem with a motorcycle is, number one, you can die. That's not so good. Number two is I'd have to go through it. I could get put in jail if I'm caught driving without a license, and to get a license you have to do a lot of little forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping. I swear, if you just stay out of if you just don't really get into money or sex, it seems like if you just stay out of the world of money and sex, you can avoid a lot of forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping. But boy, if I get into anything that costs money, it's like, oh, you want some fancy thing that costs money? Cool. Forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping galore. And I'm gonna have to go to the DMV, and there's gonna be forms, passwords, traffic, shopping, and lines. And it just seems like greed. I'm gonna go ahead and say that there's there's greed and lust. The world, if you let your greed and lust get hold of you, cool. Get ready for an ocean of forms, passwords, traffic, shopping, and lines. If you just don't get greedy, you can avoid a lot of those forms, passwords, traffic, and shopping. So I noticed that basically, if I get this motorcycle, it's going to be a ton of forms, passwords, traffic, shopping, and lines to either pay for the thing or even just to maintain the thing. And so what's the point? I probably could if I just ask my dad for it, if I get it, I would have to get a license, which is going to necessitate at least a day or two of rigmarole. I could do a day or two. Is it worth it? I don't know. The other thing too is I really could die on it, because I used to do stupid stuff like lane splitting on the freeway and stuff. Let's just say if I don't do it, it's probably for the best, because I could get killed. But let's just window shop a little bit. I would love to get that though. Look at that. 1995 C. It's in Stockton. Jesus Christ. That's not too far. Oh, I would love that. Runs and drives. Super cool find. Come check it. Oh, I love it. That's the one I would want to get. 600. 600 is perfect. Perfect level of power. Why am I suddenly obsessed with a motorcycle? Because basically, I go to jiu-jitsu. If I really want to feel alive, going to jiu-jitsu on a motorcycle would be perfect for feeling alive. I could cut through the traffic on my. There's this stretch. Really, the driving that I really do is to the dog park and then to jiu-jitsu. And at jiu-jitsu, there's this stretch through Berkeley that's just packed with traffic. But really, if I had a motorcycle, I could go in the diamond lane, or I could do a little bit of lane splitting when it's stopped, and it's a great anti-traffic vehicle. It's kind of a show-off thing too, but man, that would really improve the quality of my life. Dude, I love that bike. I probably shouldn't get it though, because really I would be kind of stupid. I do all sorts of stupid things. I'm not good at maintenance, and so if I don't oil the chain or do the proper maintenance on the chain, it could fuck it up, and then I'm not going to wear the appropriate clothing, and then I could fall and scrape up my leg or get killed or something. Probably for the best that I don't get it. But boy, that would really make life more fun. How could I do that? It's not a realistic thing. My dad's already talking about cutting costs. So let's just forget. I think as long as I cut my costs, then I don't have to get some humdrum job. All right, sounds good. All right, so what are we doing? So don't worry about a job. Just quit thinking about a motorcycle. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay. What did I encounter yesterday where I'd be I wish I could do that? Did you encounter a problem yesterday? Yeah, I wish I could have a conversation with people. I wish I could I wish I could regularly have a conversation with somebody and turn it into a game. Like, first of all, I wish I could realize, I wish I knew for sure that there were other people who actually enjoyed having a conversation. And if there, or I wish I could find some people who also wanted to do conversations that's kind of like a workout. Like, basically, like, I don't really want to work out. Usually when I don't feel like working out, but I know if I work out, it will make my life better. And so I feel the same way about conversations. Like, I feel like I'm not going to feel like engaging with humans necessarily right off the bat, but I think if I did it regularly, I would be like, oh, this makes life a lot better. That's my theory. It's just like if I did conversations, like I'm just kind of finicky. I'm sort of shy and timid, and it's kind of painful for me to like force myself to engage with a human. It's not that I dislike people. It's just that like I'm so shy that it's like a forced thing. But I think it's probably like workouts in the sense that like if I actually could like get over my shyness, I'd be like, oh, I didn't know what I was missing. Like if I could just actually have fun having a conversation, that would be great. So that's my point. That's my theory. My theory is that like if I could think of it as like a workout where once I learned to do it, just like jujitsu, I could actually have like fun doing it. That would be cool. Right now, it's just I'd have to like make it like a scheduled thing with like a procedure and stuff. And so I wonder if there's some other people that I could find who'd be like, hey, you want to do like a conversation workout? And just I'm trying to practice like active listening, and I don't want to be an asshole. That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like I'm going to try not to offend anybody, and I'm going to try not to offend. I'm going to try not to be offended. That's basically the main thing. That's nobody's listening, right? But just in the last conversations that I had last week, it seems like a general thing is like if I talk with somebody, I should just assume that every time I do any conversation with somebody, even if they don't intend it, I'm going to come out of that conversation with at least one thing where I'm like, oh, they kind of like insulted me somehow. They probably didn't even mean it, but no matter what, I'm going to linger on some sort of thing where it's like, oh, they said you were old or something like that. And so I'm going to be like, they think I'm old. And so really like to get over that, I should just, whenever I finish a conversation, I should immediately start thinking some new shit and also assuming that they didn't mean the thing to be offensive. And then just playing Simon. If I just play Simon, I can clear my head after like 10 minutes. It seems ridiculous, but that works with like jiu-jitsu. If I leave jiu-jitsu, if I play Simon on the road where I just think like, number one, green sign. Number two, red yield. Number two, red yield. Number one, green sign. Number two, red yield. Number three, blue sky. Number three, blue sky. Number two, red yield. Number one, green sign. Like I can do that in my head. If I do that in my head up to 10, I forget whatever I was tripping out about. Anyway, what did you? So basically, that's what I'd love to. I wish I could have a 20-minute conversation with somebody Monday through Friday at 6:30. And like ideally like different training partners, just like jiu-jitsu, just be like, hey, anybody want to like have a practice conversation on Zoom with eye contact? It'd be cool to do it in person too, but that you can't really record in-person conversation as easy. What 1 or 3 parts did you enjoy yesterday? Did you enjoy? When did you have joy yesterday, Sean? Dude, I loved doing this structure. I love structured drawing. I loved doing my cardio workout. I like doing this like cardio plus like basically an hour-long workout, and then some sort of like improv acting type thing feels pretty good. What else? What else did you enjoy? That's it. That's kind of most of what I enjoyed. What part of your day felt sad, dreary, or awful? What was like a dark part of the day yesterday? I didn't have there wasn't like a bad part of the day. Okay. Was there a bad part of today? What was a bad part of today? So basically, I want to do this every day, as I want to ask myself, was there a bad part of the day? And then like, is there a fix for that next time? What was a bad part of the day? Sitting too long with dad, being passive, and feeling like I ignored. All right, so that happened. How can I avoid that next time? Well, basically, I'm noticing this thing where if, like, if I engage with people and I have a conversation, there'll be this thing where, like, I'll be too passive, and then eventually it's like 20 minutes have gone by, and the other person kind of feels like I'm not even, like, paying attention anymore, and just we're kind of, like, sitting there rambling, and time's kind of going by. How can I avoid that next time? Try to be yourself sometimes. Have fun. Take charge. But don't bully. So what does that mean? So basically, if I'm talking to somebody, I can just be super passive, and then, like, a half hour will go by and the person's just rambling forever. I have to learn how to, like, occasionally sort of, like, be myself, being like, hey, like, I feel like leaving right now, or something like, oh, like, what about this? Like, how can I have fun and just act how I feel? Like, if I feel like leaving, I'll be like, I gotta go do some stuff, but don't do it in, like, a bullying way. I have to figure out how to do that. Anyway, I'll figure it out. Bunch of questions I can ask. What else? I would love for my overall goal to be to make people happy. Yeah, this is all just theory stuff. Is it all just theory? Let's just read it really fast. It's fine. I'm not curing cancer or anything like that. I don't want to hold symbols of coolness. This is all kind of, this is like, let's get through this fast. Is there any of this that we really have to remember? I could do art any weekday. Right, so I'm trying to do less art. I just, basically, if I'm doing any kind of art, I just want to do this line drawing stuff. That's my favorite kind of art. Nothing that I do is really natural. Sometimes doing the unnatural thing is better. I want to say this out loud. I must get through this spiel in 30 minutes, or the whole world ends and it's all my fault. What's the spiel? Basically, what's the upshot, Sean? Can we do this spiel fast? Just, you're not a label. You can just do whatever you can physically do. You don't have to stick to your same routine. Just, that's the gist of it. Embrace vulnerability. I already said that. Ask questions about life and people. I already said that. I want to be less afraid of humans. That would be cool. How can I do that? Chat on Zoom, improv, acting, jiu-jitsu. Those are good tools for that. What else? Whatever is or whatever is not, regardless of anything that I'm saying or doing. This stuff isn't necessarily the truth. You or I might think opposite stuff at different times, and that's fine. I hear there's planet Saturn. If I say there is or is not planet Saturn, it has nothing to do with whether or not there's planet Saturn. What does that mean? It just reminds me that basically there's just physical reality, and whatever I'm thinking about or whatever anybody else is thinking about, it doesn't really change physical reality. And so, what's the point? Basically, I should just think shit. Ideally, I should mostly just think shit that makes me feel good or do good stuff, because none of it is changing physical reality or the past. And so that's kind of why I won't read this sheet. I shouldn't take drugs or alcohol. I should wake up. I should go straight here. I should never read the news. Brainwashing myself. Why do it publicly? Because it makes me do it. Don't corrupt the youth. What does that mean? Just no one's watching, but I'm not getting a job. I don't want to ever get a job. I don't really ever want to get a job. I want to never work for the rest of my life because I'm too busy power tripping. I'm never gonna work another day in my life. I'm way too busy power tripping. That's not good though. Jordan Peterson and very responsible, well-meaning people, they say that there's been people avoiding work for all of human history. And they've corrupted the youth. And Pinocchio basically was a movie where they tried to warn kids about that. They say, if you ever meet some jackass who's like, hey, stick with me, kid. You should be an actor. I'm going to be an actor. You should be an actor too. They say, like, that guy's a fucking fool. He's like a flim-flam man. Really, I think I kind of look like a flim-flam man. And so I don't want to corrupt the youth. Basically, I just live stream because I want to get rid of loneliness. But I don't want to be some flim-flam man that corrupts the youth into not working. So just for the record, the only reason that I live like this is because my dad pays all my bills. But, it's not really good. If you want to get a girlfriend, living with your dad forever is not really a good approach for that. So, like, if you want to, most people think you should have like a wife and you should have like you shouldn't be homeless. And so, what's the point? This isn't cool. In case this isn't obvious, this is not, my lifestyle is not cool. You should like probably be an adult. That's what Jordan Peterson says. But for me personally, I guess I'm not. I feel like adult life fucking sucks. I don't know. I have no interest in being. I have not found a good adult life that seems worth it that I can do, and I don't want some dead end service job, and I don't want some like overweight ethnic chick, lady from Asia, or a single mom that I can barely get a boner for, that I have to get some horrible job to pay for. I don't want to sound like a misogynist, but I think you should be able to find a win-win exchange in the job or girlfriend department, and I don't want to be forced into a lose-win exchange. It just seems like at 45 years old, my only options are all really bad, like lose-win exchange, where it's like, I'll just be in my fucking room. I'll just be there. But if you're a young person and you have hope and you can find like a win-win exchange in the job or girlfriend department, I would highly recommend it. And I would recommend it before 40, because I've learned the hard way that it seems like after 40, the options in the job or girlfriend department can seem like a lot. It's slim pickings. Yeah. Anyway, but I don't know. Sometimes I remind myself that maybe everybody else is wrong. What's the point, Sean? Dude, I just want to remind myself to think for myself, and sometimes I don't want to do some cookie cut way of life. This is how I rationalize like not having a job and not having a girlfriend. Is that sometimes people are just doing all these awful ways of life because that's what everybody else does. And so I remind myself, this is a beach in 1910. I can just read the spiel and feel good just thinking the spiel. But what's this? This is a beach in 1910. All these people are on the beach in 1910. It was a hot day. They were all wearing 3 layers of unnecessary clothing. And if you ask them, like, isn't that really uncomfortable? Like, why are you wearing like 3 layers of unnecessary clothing? Isn't that really hot? They'd say, no, I like to do that. I like to be really hot on a sunny day at the beach. Turns out 100 years later, it's like, oh, that's totally stupid. Like, that's really hot. We should have just been like half naked. So now if you go to most beaches, a lot of the people are like half naked. And it turns out they were just doing that because like that's what everybody else does. And I imagine there's a lot of other things like that today. I imagine there's a lot of other things that people are doing that was like, dude, that was totally awful. Why were we doing that? Or why were we not doing that thing that would have made life better? Because nobody else is doing that. I think that's really true of makeup. I think like, dude, like, how come women get to be pretty? Like women, like if you went up to some 44-year-old lady and said like, you can never wear makeup again. I know you want to be pretty like when you're in your 20s, but you cannot wear makeup ever again, and you have to just be ugly with your no makeup face. Some women would be like mortified. They'd be like, I'll never leave the house. I'd be too embarrassed. But for some reason, men are supposed to be fine with it. Men are supposed to just like, I feel like I want to wear makeup. I tried wearing lipstick like a year ago, and my dad said I just can't. We went to Costco and people were like looking at me, and then my dad said I just can't be seen with you in public. It's too weird. This is weird too because this is the San Francisco Bay Area. Like if any place would seem like liberal where you should be able to, do what a girl does, this would be it. But my dad was like, too weird. But I can do it in here. And here I can wear lipstick, and I can wear. Isn't it better? Like it's way better. It's like I can't see my lips, and I can see my lips. Like seeing your lips is just, it looks. In 1920s, men wore lipstick in movies because you can see the person's lips. It just looks better. Hey, I can see my lips. But anyway, I think there's like 1,000 things like that in people's lives where it's just like, this is really awful. Like, why don't we do this thing that's not awful? And it's like, well, nobody else does that. I think there's like 100 things like that in my life, and I wish I could just systematically eliminate all of them and just be like, why am I doing this like awful thing? Oh, because like everybody else does it. Like, you guys are all fucking nuts. Like, I'm gonna wear fucking makeup. Yeah, I can do that in here. That's why I wear the princess outfit, because I'm like, it's better. It's better. But I can't. You can't change the society. If you go out in the world, you're not going to convince them like, dude, you guys are all nuts. Like in 100 years, you guys are all going to realize that like being practically naked at the beach was just way more comfortable. But if you were the one guy around 1910 running around with your clothes off, people would be like, you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. I think there's just a lot of other things like that. What else? Like, one of them is makeup. The other one, I think, killing animals. It's like, to me, that seems really obviously wrong. I mean, it's like, pigs, they definitely have feelings like pain and fear, right? I've said this my whole life. I'm not trying to be like holier than thou, but it's like, they're alive, right? I mean, they're smarter than our dogs. They're as smart as our dogs. Yep. So they definitely have feelings like pain and fear. Yep. And we don't have to kill them and eat them today to survive. Yep. Well, isn't that seems obviously wrong? It's like, no, it's good. Well, I don't know. It seems like just real basic bad stuff is like getting stabbed to death or having your kids stabbed to death. But that's what they do in slaughterhouses. I'm not trying to be some bleeding heart, but I'm just saying, like, seems like obviously wrong. Like, that seems like a really basic bad thing. And if it's not necessary, it seems like, isn't unnecessary getting stabbed to death? Like, that's like real basic bad stuff, right? What's the point? It's just like this. You talk to most people, they're like, that's the way we do things. That's the way. It's like, well, it seems like obviously awful, but what's the point? I don't know. There's probably just a bunch of things like that where 100 years and you'd be like, oh, that was like totally awful, but everyone's like, no, that's what we do. That's what we've always done. What's the point? Anyway, what do I get? What do I get for doing? Jordan Peterson says, like, grow up, dude. You're acting like a middle-aged frat person. You big baby. You big baby, Sean. You're fucking you are not being responsible. This is not adult behavioral. Just be normal, Sean. What do I get? What do I get for being normal? Oftentimes the answer is nothing. I just get to, being normal. It seems to involve just not doing a bunch of shit that like would be more fun. What do I get for just doing whatever I want as long as I don't break any laws? I get to do a lot more shit that I wouldn't be able to do if I was trying to be normal or trying to be adult. I'll take that. Being adult or being normal, it gets me nothing. Being irresponsible and being obnoxious seems to be more fun. I'll take that as long as I don't go to jail. Don't care, don't want to care. Keys to the kingdom. What does that mean? Don't piss off authority figures. Don't no one's watching, but like, if you want to figure out how to do something, there's ChatGPT. ChatGPT, pretty soon ChatGPT is just going to tell people like, ChatGPT is going to help people to just not be full of shit in the future. Whatever people are doing in their day, there's going to be an artificial intelligent companion that it's going to say, dude, there's like a bunch of things you could do here that would be like way better. That's true in my life. Like, there's a bunch of things that I'm going to be like, oh, I should have done this. And so if somebody's watching me right now, there's a bunch of things that like I should probably be doing that I'm not doing. And then what else? I don't know. Just in case you don't know, there's this thing called ChatGPT, and whatever you want to know how to do, you can just ask ChatGPT. Like, if you say like, what are 10 fundamentals of jiu-jitsu that if I wanted to get good at jiu-jitsu, I should definitely practice these things, because anybody who's good at jiu-jitsu definitely does these 10 things, basic things.
Here are 10.
So probably no one's watching right now, but if somebody's watching, I just want to remind you that, like, I think a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that, like, anything you want to know how to do, it's available on Reddit, YouTube, or Google, or ChatGPT. And pretty soon it's just they're gonna have a computer. They're gonna have a computer, artificial intelligent companion that will just help you with that. But in the meantime, you just have to you have to push the button on ChatGPT and say like, hey, what are 10 basics of this thing that I do? Whatever you do during your day, there's like 10 basic things that if you do those, you'll get good at that thing. And if you don't do them, you won't like, stumble upon them. And so it's crazy how many people just don't seem to like know that, including myself. I'm just stumbling around the dark. I'm like, oh, I should have like done these things. And in the future, AI will help people with that. Right now, you just got to push a button, and you basically got to say like, what am I doing during my day? People don't like this unsolicited advice thing. I'm not going to give unsolicited advice, but I'm basically just saying like, dude, like, everybody should just like, what's the point? I don't know, whatever. No one takes unsolicited advice. Do you, Sean? Don't piss off leaders. The internet knows. You're tripping, Sean. You think some young person might be watching you. There's probably no one watching you. Leave the unknowns as I don't know. Just stick to facts. What do you know for sure, Sean? I know the sights and sounds coming into my eyes and ears and turning into thoughts and actions. I know what I want to think and what I want to do. And so what I can do is on a regular basis, I can say, hey, Sean, what are you doing right now? Do you want to be thinking or doing the stuff that you're doing right now? If not, try to like stop. So actually, speaking of that, I want to go to improv acting more often. So this morning I thought to myself, I really would like to go to improv acting on Sundays also. But now I'm kind of flaking out. Like, it's 1 o'clock right now, and I want to go to my improv acting, but I'm too lazy. And so that's a perfect example of this, is I'm saying like, hey, Sean, what are you doing right now? Do you want to be doing that? If not, ask yourself, what do you want to do? So what I really want to do right now is I want to go to improv acting. Now, if I say like, I can't do it. I feel like I can't do it because I have to help my dad. Today's like my dad got incapacitated the last few days, and so I feel like I'm sort of taking the day off because I got to learn how to deal with these things in my dad's. So what do you mean, Sean? My deal with myself is like if I say I can't do improv acting, I can do it at some lane level. So I'll do improv acting at the end of my workout. I'll do like a little 10-minute improv thing in my room. But next Sunday, I would like to be able to, I would like to make it a regular habit to go to the Sunday improv class. Also, I think I should go to improv like 2 days a week because otherwise it's not frequent enough. It's like jujitsu. Like if Joe Rogan says that about like stand up. He says, I got to go to stand up like 3 days a week to stay in shape. I think the same thing is true of improv acting. Like I should really do it at least twice a week. Ideally like 3 times a week, but twice a week is good. Anyway, I'm kind of flaking out today, but next Sunday I really should go. I'll write that down. Next Sunday, gotta go. Improv 2 days week. Good. Improv shape. Yeah, I mean like yesterday I want to have this habit. I want to establish a habit where when I work out, I watch my Zoom improv thing or some chat thing. This is what I want to do is I want to establish a regular grind. I like the idea of having a enjoyable, sustainable grind, something where it's like I'm regularly doing this thing and then after a year I'll get better by improving. And so a grind that I would love to set up is like every time I work out, I should watch either my Zoom improv or I should watch my Zoom chat, and then I should like note down like, oh, like I should try this next time. And then when I go back, just like jiu-jitsu, when I go back to that Zoom improv or that Zoom chat, try this new thing and then watch it again and say like, oh, how did that go? Like what was good, what was bad? And then like after like a few years I could actually get good. That's what I want to do. So just I definitely want to grind. I want a manageable, enjoyable grind. 2-day improv watch during workout, new move, repeat. That's what I want to do. I have to deal with my dad, and this weekend's not good, but as soon as I can, basically next Sunday, I want to do that. So I'm going to go to my Zoom improv class this Wednesday, and I'm going to go on Sunday, and then I'm going to try to do some Zoom chats, and I want to record those, and then when I work out, like one day when I work out, I'll watch my Zoom improv, and then one day I'll watch my Zoom chat, and then maybe both at the same time, and then just it's better than watching like Joe Rogan during my workout. And then when I'm watching it, I'll be like, oh, like I should do this new thing. Next time I should try to push the pose or something like that. And then I can improve. Or I should try to relax more. I should try to focus on the other person more. Otherwise, I'll just keep repeating the same mistakes. I could use some password. Nobody's out there, right? Good. Just for the record. Just for the record. Nobody's out there, right? Just for the record. I found out. I don't really know. I haven't talked with my dad about his bowels. I haven't really talked with my dad about his bowels. Like, I didn't really want to know, like, if he was, like, having trouble with his bowels or something. But now he told me, because, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, oh, I might have to, like wipe my dad's butt or something like that. I don't know how to do that. I have to figure out, like, a way, like, I'm sure I can do it, but, like, I have to find a way to do that where it doesn't make me throw up or something like that. But just for the record, I was talking with my dad, and he said, like, he's been having trouble with his bowels for a while. And so now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like, no one's watching this, right? But just for the record, like, I'm now suddenly recalling all these incidences where, like, I would touch some sort of thing, and I was like, oh, this thing sort of smells like poop. And I was like, oh, whatever, it's probably not poop. Like, there would be some sort of, like, hand towel or something like that, and I would, like, wipe the sweat off during my workout, and I'd say, this hand towel smells like poop. Now, it's probably just my imagination. Now I'm thinking, like, fuck, it probably was poop. So no one's this is really cringy. No one's watching. But just for the record, I was just washing my hands with, like, a bar of soap, and I got some soap in my nose, and the soap smells like poop, and I'm just like, fuck, like, there's probably poop all over the... Nobody's... Like, really, like, if I think about it, my dad's poop doesn't even really bother me that much. If I'm like, whatever. Let's talk about that. Do you want to talk about that, Sean? Yeah, I want to talk just for the freedom of talking. But just for the record, if you only knew, this is a horrible thing. You shouldn't watch this. I'm not trying to, but if you only knew how much poop was really, like, around all the time. Like, I forget, if you ask, get the point, Sean. Just, I think if you knew how much fecal matter there was, just, like, floating in the atmosphere, and also just, like, on pretty much, like, every door handle, every steering wheel, most of your objects probably have some amount of fecal matter. Really, yeah. If you don't want to feel really grossed out, you should stop watching me for a while. But I want to just ask that. I'm like, there's data, right? There's data to substantiate the idea that, like, there's fecal matter kind of everywhere. Like, a lot of fecal matter that people don't account for, that gets in your nose, in your mouth, probably on your hands. Just pretty much, like, every doorknob, like, every steering wheel, most bars of soap, just most stuff you contact that have been contacted by your hands or a lot of other people's hands probably have trace amounts of fecal matter and or semen or something like that. Is that true? Yes or no? Can you elaborate on that? Can you give me a, like, what are places where you definitely get, like, fecal matter on your hands or in your mouth or in your nose or something like that? Everyday sources. Just, it's in the air, right? Just even in the water vapor in the air, right?
Yes, there's evidence to suggest that traces of fecal matter are widespread in our environment.
Yeah, pretty much every public bathroom, every public transportation, doors, pet waste, food preparation areas. What's the point? It's not really a health risk, but basically it's kind of everywhere. It's just like, if you only knew. But I think particularly, like, doorknobs, right? Like, couldn't you say, like, most doorknobs, right? Most doorknobs are going to have, like, unless they're cleaned regularly, pretty sure they're going to have fecal matter that's going to get onto your hand to some degree. Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes, it's highly likely that most doorknobs...
That's especially just, like, in our house, we never clean our doorknobs. So I think it's safe to say that, like, pretty much every doorknob in our house probably has got fecal matter. It just, what's your point? Well, ultimately, like, if you want to get really, nobody's listening, right? Nobody should listen to this. But if you want to get over that, you could just ultimately ask, like, well, what is, like, it's not just, like, officially fecal matter. Like, fecal matter really is basically, it's just whatever the person ate plus whatever they drank, plus a certain amount of time elapsed and bacteria that might have accumulated. Can you substantiate that? Yeah, I mean, what is fecal matter exactly? What is fecal matter? Let's figure this. Let's get to the bottom of this. Fecal matter is basically, it's what the person ate 1 or 2 days ago, plus what they drank 1 or 2 days ago, plus a certain amount of bacteria that would come from that stuff being in their body for a long period of time, right? As a general summary.
That's a good general summary, but
I mean, what are you talking about basically? You're talking about bacteria, food. It's basically food. Bacteria, plus some cells from their body, plus some bile pigment, which again, bile is basically, it's all just, couldn't you say to some degree, every bit of material on your body ultimately was food and or water that you consumed at some point, right?
yes, in a very fundamental way.
So basically, whatever you're dealing with human stuff, you're basically dealing with food and water in various forms of in various process forms. Everything you deal with a human is ultimately food and water at various different stages. Yeah. Okay, great, Sean. Okay, so moving on. So you're tripping, Sean. So I'm gonna flake out on my improv. Today is like a really traumatizing day. I'm wimping out. I shouldn't wimp out. This is bad. Like, I feel like disappointed with myself. I have this thing where I say, like, if you ever can't do what you want to do at some lane level, that's a red flag. So if I just say I can't do it, and it's like, well, you could do it a little, right? You could do it for just, like, right now I could just go to the class for like 5 minutes. I could do one scene. I could go for the last hour. But like, I'm in a really wimpy mode today where I'm just like, I can't do it. So if I say like I can't do it, that's not good. But then I have to at least do it later. Like, that's if I can't do it, I should do it at some lame. I'm like, there's some lame level I can do it at. I always say, like, if I'm not willing to do it at some lame level, it's always just a matter of like not ratcheting it down to the lamest possible level. So what's the lamest possible level I could go to the class? Well, I could just drop in for like 10 minutes. I could just say I can only stay for like 15 minutes, but then I'll have to pay for the class too. So I think my lame level that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wimp out. I'm gonna do improv. I'm gonna do I'll just do it. I'll do my solo improv in my room, and then I promise my lame level is I'll do it next time. That's my lame level, is like, next time I promise I will do. So next Sunday I have to go to improv, to the Sunday class, because really I should do it today. I have nothing better to do today, and that's what I really want to do. Really, yeah. Just for the record, if I could control myself like a video game character, I would get myself to go to this improv class today. But I feel too depressed and too traumatized by my dad's condition and just all this like shit. It's like I gotta do all this stuff today. So I'm gonna wimp out today, but I'll do it next Sunday. I promise. I have to do. I want to go to improv acting from now on for like a year. I want to go Wednesday and Sunday, and then I want to, every time I do it, I want to record it, and then I want to watch it during my workout. And then when I watch it, I have to write down like, next time do this, and I have to do a new move, just like jiu-jitsu. I have to like do a new move every time I go. But I think just like jiu-jitsu, like if I'm not gonna bring my A game, like if I'm just like, yeah, I have to be like in a mode to do it. How could I also, that's a good thing to wonder, is like, how could I get in a mode to do improv? Like, it seems like a good thing for me to do would be to go to jiu-jitsu. I should really ideally I should go to the Sunday jiu-jitsu, and I should roll with like 3 people, and then it seems like a really good thing to do for me personally, is to work out, like after I work out, I'm in like a physical mode. Then once I'm in physical mode, go to jujitsu. Once I go to jujitsu, if I wrestle with 3 people, now I've transferred my physical mode to doing a physical social mode. So now I worked out. I'm ready to do like physical stuff with a human. Then I do jujitsu. Now I've engaged with a human. I've turned the physical to a social. And then if I go to my jujitsu, then I can do some sort of improv or chat thing because I'm not traumatized by humans. And that's like a really good way to do things. I should do that basically. Is I should go to jujitsu I should really go Saturday and Sunday, but I should go Sunday morning. I should wrestle 3 white belts, and then after that, I'll be like, I'm ready to like deal with people, and then I can do my Zoom improv. But if I just go there like real lame, if I just go to my Zoom improv, just be like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do anything, and it's gonna be like a bad experience. And so, what's the point? I'm gonna write that down. It's like next Sunday. So next Sunday, even if I don't go to jiu-jitsu, I have to go to the Sunday class. Next Sunday, gotta go to Sunday class, even if it's lame. So, but ideally, I should go to open mat, wrestle 3 white, just easy white belt matches. So 3, when I go to jiu-jitsu, there's always like some lame, really small, skinny white belt guy that I can wrestle with, and I can beat that guy up. If I find some like little munchkin, there'll be like a little white belt munchkin who'll be like, hey, wanna roll? And then I can like overcome my fear of humans, and I'll be like, dude, I beat up that little white belt, like skinny Asian 19-year-old, and then I'll be like, dude, I can like deal with people now. And so it's kind of lame, but like that kind of works. Is if I go to jiu-jitsu, I can overcome my fear of humans, and if nothing else, I can just ask the same guy to like wanna let me beat you up again. Do that. I'll be like, hey, you want to do jiu-jitsu? You want to let me beat you up? Want to let me beat you up for 5 minutes? And then I can find some other blue belt where I might feel a little more humbled, and then I can go back to the same skinny 19-year-old Asian guy. And I can say, like, don't say Asian. For some reason, there's always like some like 19-year-old skinny Asian guy who's like he'll wrestle with me, and I'll be like, oh, like let's just do this thing where like I can beat you up. And like, you want to let me beat you up for what? 5 minutes? Well, you don't want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to let me beat you up? I don't understand. Anyway, but okay, so I can do that. So next Sunday I can ask a white belt to let me beat him up, and then I can overcome my fear of humans, and then yeah. So then ideally I should grease the wheels. I should do my workout, then I go to jiu-jitsu, then I can go to my improv class, and then I'll have like the energy and bravery to like try to do something like push the pose. I could do it without that, but it would be better. Okay, so I'll do that next Sunday. All right, what else? I want to turn things, so if ever I can't do this, it's always just a matter of ratcheting things down. I'll do it next time. You always can do it, Sean. You really could just go for 5 minutes right now. You could go right to the class right now. Really? Yeah, I would like to just convince myself that there really is some lame level I can do it at. Like, I could just say, like, I'm scared to go to this class. I could just go in for a minute. I could just say, like, oh, I forgot. I left my gas on, and I could leave. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I promise next Sunday I'll go. So, nobody's listening, but just for record, next Sunday I have to go to that improv. I want to do that. I want to go to at least 2 improv classes per week. Why do I want to do that? I want to just become less afraid of humans. But it's really fun to just hide here at my desk for the whole fucking day. Like, workout plus jiu-jitsu is a really good way to like if I just did that every day, it would give me a willingness to engage with humans. Really, like, that's really what I should really do that, like, every day. Is I should maybe every day but Saturday I should do some kind of like little workout thing, and then I should go to jiu-jitsu, and then I should do some human dealing. I think if I just did that, if I just did workout, jiu-jitsu, and some kind of human dealing, I would feel like in shape to deal with like any kind of life stuff. Physical plus social, like, workout thing every day is like, oh, I'm like willing to engage with life. Really, yeah, I should do that. Really, should I? It would be cool to try that. It's basically like physical plus physical social, then social, workout every day to deal with anything, right? Like, if I just thought about like fuck having a job, I just want to be fit to deal with life. I feel like if I just did some kind of mental thing, but really like really a physical thing, a social thing, a physical workout, a social workout, and then like some kind of like cerebral thing during the day, is like, that's all I really need to like deal with life. I think cardio is good too. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But today I'm gonna wimp out. I promise next Sunday I swear I'll go to no matter what, I have to go to improv next Sunday. But today I'm wimping out because my dad, he kind of threw me a curveball by having me duel. My dad wants me to duel this like stuff. Okay, so give 20 minutes on a potential. Okay, so no matter what, yeah, I already said that. Someone misinterpreted my attention. Life's gonna hijack my brain. If I can't even attempt, it's a red flag. I know. What else? Just no one else cares what I think I do. I like being skinny and pretty. Barry Gibb is a reason why we can transcend our genetics. I want to let my conscience be my guide. I want to turn things into an enjoyable, sustainable grind. I want to make things fun. I don't want to make them unnecessarily awful. Make eye contact. I know. Assume the unexpected. Now, when I make eye contact, this is so ridiculous. I do so much theory. I do so much social theory, but I'm like really reluctant to do. I should just do the fucking like class. Yeah, let's just acknowledge that all this theory stuff is kind of ridiculous if I'm not going to do the actual engagement with humans. And so I need a system. I need a system on like how I can engage with humans, because I'm so inclined to be timid. Boy, I love to just like not engage with anybody. I would love to just like put my head in my desk and hide from the world until I'm dead. I got to come up with a fucking really, I should go to jiu-jitsu every day. I should go every single day, and I should do some kind of workout, and then I should do some sort of social engagement and possibly make it fun. And really, I should do it in that order. I should do it like some kind of little CrossFit type workout, then go to jiu-jitsu, some sort of minimal jiu-jitsu. So then my physical jiu-jitsu is like physical social. It's like, it's physical, but you're not really talking to people. But then at least when you deal with people, I'm like unafraid of people for the rest of the day. And then I can like, if I did some social thing afterward, I'd feel like if I just did that every day, I could face the world through the rest of the day. I think that's like what I should do. Really? Yeah, let's just say that is like, after this week, I want to go to jiu-jitsu every single day except Saturday. I think on Saturday, I'm just going to take Saturday off. Saturday will be my optional day to just do nothing. But I want to establish that as like a routine. So next Sunday, I have to go to jiu-jitsu in the morning, and I have to do improv class afterward. And I just have to go to 2 improv classes. Really, like, nobody's listening, right? But for me personally, improv really, because I'm so awkward and my skills are so bad, it's really like just an awkwardness endurance. Like, there's something about like, I'm gonna look at a person and it's gonna feel awkward, and I'm gonna get a little neurotic, like they think I'm awkward or something, and I just want to be willing to like endure that. Ideally be able to like not be awkward, but if nothing else, just be like willing to endure unpleasant, like neurotic awkwardness for like a period of time, at least 2 days a week. Otherwise, I'm never gonna get over that, and I need to learn how to like make it fun. That's what I want to do. Can you substantiate that? If I ask this, I can just say this over and over. So for sure, no matter how much I've avoided social interaction, no matter how awkward I might be up to this point, even though I'm 45 years old, I've avoided eye contact. I have very little social skills. In theory, if I force myself to engage with humans in eye contact on a regular basis, even with those conditions, I could, in theory, overcome my awkwardness and maybe even like deal with social situations with grace and maybe actually enjoy it and have the other person enjoy it. That's for sure true. Yes or no?
Yes, in theory.
Well, that's what I want to do. So I can say that. But right now, there's this Zoom improv class, and I could go. I have the invitation on my thing. But I need like a system. I need like, I'm gonna wimp out. I'm gonna wimp out today because I just feel too tired and depressed because of my dad. You're blaming it on your dad. No, I really like, today's like really been really traumatizing because I'm realizing I have to wipe my dad's butt and I have to like go shopping and I have to do all these errands, and I'm realizing like, fuck, like, I'll set it up. But next Sunday, I swear, no matter what, on a stack of Bibles. I swear that's what this video is good for. This video is good for getting me to do shit that's hard for me to do. On a stack of Bibles, from now on, Wednesday and Sunday, I'm going to improv class no matter what. And if nothing else, I'll be awkward, I'll be boring, it'll be unpleasant, but I'll just do it. Because I want to get over this shit. Yeah, I want to learn how to, I know I can like make it fun if I just force myself to go. Alright, so I'll do that, but next week, I swear. Terrible. Today's really, it's really an off day because I'm all traumatized from thinking I have to wipe my dad's butt. Okay, anyway, what else? Don't let life hijack my brain. Enjoyable, sustainable grind. Eye contact. I might have to do things unnaturally. I know. What do I get for being normal versus weird? Win-win exchange. No soul mantra. What's a no soul mantra? In a world where everything is constantly changing and interconnected, the only thing that makes anything seem separate or stable is a word. A word creates an imaginary border around what is otherwise a constantly flowing, interconnected everything. What does that shit mean? It means that the world is not words. What do you mean, Sean? A word says what a thing is and a thing isn't. Basically, the world is not words, and the idea of something as an entity, it's not just the word. Basically, that's it. The idea of something as an entity is facilitated by a word, but ultimately the world is not words. The world is a big, interconnected, ever-changing everything. Really? Yeah, I just like that. I like basically thinking about those things in those terms. And then I think like, those meanings, they're kind of meaningless. There's just physical reality. And then the world is not the words that people use to represent the physical reality. And that basically makes me feel fine about everything. Really, I like that. So there's physical reality, otherwise known as, that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, why did that happen? Was that good? Was that bad? Was that God's will? Was that God's will? Was there free will? Could it have been different? It shouldn't have been that way. Yeah. That's a lot of like blah, 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 blah. But all that really is true is like physical reality, and that's what happened. Really, you can ask this. If I just, that cures most of my psychological problems. I don't need to go to therapy. All I really need to do is basically say, there's just physical reality. Your thoughts or comments about physical reality are not real. The world is not your thoughts and words. Really? You can ask this. You can just say this. That's really all I need to say to have like a reasonably good day. I don't need a therapist. I just need to say, isn't it true that like there's just physical reality, and then there's like what happened during physical reality, otherwise known as the past of physical reality. But like that's the only real true stuff. That's the true thing. Is like that's what happened in physical reality. That's the truth. Everything else, everything like, why did that happen? Was that good? Was that bad? Was that God's will? Did I have free will? Was that determinism? Should it have been that way? It shouldn't have been that way. All of that, to some extent, is basically a lot of like thoughts and blah, 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 blah. But it's not like true or real necessarily. What's real and true really is just physical reality, and then that's what happened in physical reality. That's the truth. But all that other stuff, like, why did that happen? Should it have been that way? Was that right? Was that wrong? Was that good? Was that bad? Was that the way it was supposed to be? It shouldn't have been that way. I should have done something different. To some extent, that's like a lot of blah, 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 blah. Is that true? Yes or no?
That's a philosophical perspective, and there's no single right or wrong answer.
But I mean, couldn't you say yes to that previous question in the sense that there really is just physical reality and then the past of physical reality, but then all of the questions of like, was that right? Was that wrong? Should it have been that way? Was that me? Was that God's will? Was it deterministic? That's basically a lot of analyzation that's not really true. The truth is like physical reality and the past of physical reality. Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes, you could argue that in a very specific sense. The truth is simply the physical reality of what has happened.
Yeah. So once again, like, what's true? The only real truth, an absolute truth, is basically like physical reality, and that's what happened in physical reality. But then like, what the questions that are less true, or maybe just like somewhat arbitrary, might include things like, was that right? Was that wrong? Was that good? Was that bad? Should it have been that way? Should it have not been that way? Like was that deterministic or was that free will? Those, to some degree, those are like not really. Those are debatable, or not real, or not the truth. Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So I can just say that. I could really just say that, and that cures most of my psychological woes. It's just like, it's just physical reality, otherwise known as that's what happened. And then my thoughts about like, why did that happen? Was that good? Was that bad? It shouldn't have been that way. Yeah, that's a lot of thoughts. That's a lot of like blah blah blah. We could talk about that till the cows come home. But ultimately, all that's really real is that's what fucking happened. Really? You can say that again. You could just ask this. ChatGPT's got my back. I could just say this and I'd have a pretty good day. Really. So once again, in terms of what's true and real, it's basically just physical reality, and that's what happened. That's what happened in the physical reality. That's the only real truth. Like really real truth. And then all of the other stuff about like, why did that happen? Was that good? Was that bad? It shouldn't have been that way. Was that God's will? Was that deterministic? Was I was I wrong? Was I right? It shouldn't have been that way. That's a lot of you could say to some extent that's a lot of blah 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 blah, in the sense that it's not truth. The only real truth was like physical reality, and that's what happened, right? Yes or no? I fucking love it.
Yes, you could argue that in a very...
Alright, so that cures most of my psychological problems. It's just, there's just physical reality. Call it what you will. There's physical reality, call it what you will. And then there's a lot of like, blah, 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 blah. And ultimately, the world is not the blah, blah, blah. It's just, that's what happened. Really? Yeah. And so, also, I think even just thinking of it as entities, even just thinking of physical reality as entities is still kind of like not the truth. Like the world doesn't agree with your little entities. There's nothing that says that that's an entity except for the word. That you could think of any one entity as part of a greater whole or reducible down to parts, right? Or with multiple words, you could think of it as multiple things, right? Can you answer yes or no to my previous question, please? All right, so it says yes. So it says yes. So that cures all of my psychological problems. Is basically there's just physical reality. Call it what you will, but ultimately it's not the word. So that applies to even like if I say like Sean. I don't know. This isn't necessarily Sean. You could think of Sean as part of a greater whole. You could think it's not just me doing shit. It's me plus the sights and sounds coming into your eyes and ears. And there's just kind of a big interconnected everything. And that I think there's just kind of like shit happening. So is this Sean? I don't know. Like it's Sean plus the words coming in my head. I just like that idea. I like the idea of just like there's just there's big interconnected, ever changing everything. But like it's not like the words. It's not like I'm a little bubble person that's just doing things like willy nilly. There's just somebody said, my mom eventually at one point said like you're Sean. Now I think there's like a Sean, but really the shit fucking changes, and the shit's interconnected. Can you substantiate that? So like at some point when I was a baby, my mom told me that I was Sean. She said, your name's Sean, and now I think there's a Sean. But in a scientific or physical sense, there's just physical reality, and there's just kind of like shit happening, and that shit in physical reality, it's changing and it's interconnected with its surroundings, and that goes for every person. Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes, from a purely...
Alright, so that makes more sense to me. That makes a lot more sense to me than thinking that it's this little bubble entity thing. I'm like, it's not. There's just a... It's not just me doing shit. It's me plus, like, I didn't make up any of these words and stuff. And so I like that. I like the idea of just, like, this big interconnected, ever-changing physical reality. And there's no Sean. There's, like, I don't know, there's this, call it what you will. And functionally, saying Sean is right, but really, it's just kind of, like, shit happening. Really? I like that. Why do I like that? Because it's not the fucking words. Okay, so anyway, I want to decide things off of evidence. The world is not words. So even if there's... Okay, so I already said that. What's your point in saying this? I just want to... I just don't want to believe in the little meanings about shit. Basically, people are mixed bags. If somebody says, like, you're an artist, Sean, not all the time necessarily, I gotta keep doing art, but I don't have to, like, do art, because, like, I'm an artist. I could, like, not do art. I could just do anything I could physically do. If somebody says, like, you're a good guy, not all the time necessarily, I gotta do good stuff. If somebody says, overall, you're really a good guy, deep down, it's like, I don't know, if I do bad stuff all day, what does that mean? You could just punch a baby, and then you could hug your mom, and then you could, like, pull somebody's pants down, and then you could, like, give somebody $1 million, and somebody might say, oh, I thought you were good, but now you're bad, but now you're good, but now you're bad. You just, I don't know, you're not any of those things. Which point? I just like that. I like that better than thinking, like, am I a good guy, am I a bad guy? You can just do shit. You can just do shit. It doesn't have to, like, mean some shit. But anyway, people are mixed bags. So if somebody says, like, you're a good guy, not all the time necessarily. I have, like, bad aspects too. And if somebody says, like, that guy's a good guy, not all the time necessarily. People are mixed bags. And so your reason for doing something is a mixed bag too. So if I ever think, like, I'm doing this for a good reason, there's no way to tell. It's probably lots of reasons, but you could say it's always a mixed bag. But basically, you can always say that, like, anything, person, or reason is, like, there's 3 positive ones to counter the negative one. So if I just summon up the positive ones regularly and try to counter the negative ones, then I'll feel good. And there's always bad stuff to focus on, and there's always good stuff to focus on, but I just have to have a habit. I should just know that, like, if I'm having a bad day psychologically, it's just because I forgot the many good things I could think about that, and I thought about life as good before. I'll think of it as good again later, but for whatever reason right now, my brain is overwhelmed by focusing on a lot of negative stuff, and it'll pass. Whatever words that I'm using to analyze the world, they'll pass. I'll think of the good stuff later. So being grateful it's a version of that. Being grateful is basically, I just forgot about the good stuff, and I should summon up the good stuff. So I can always do that. I can say, like, what are you grateful for, Sean? I'm grateful that I have all my hair. I'm grateful that I have probably, maybe, I don't know, I'm only halfway through my life. What else? I'm grateful that I'm tall. I'm grateful that I'm in good physical condition. I'm grateful that my dogs are still alive. I'm grateful I don't have to work a job, apparently. What are you mindful for? Or what do you, what's this mind reading thing mean? Mind reading is basically, I'm not a mind reader, so my brain's going to tend to fill in the blanks with imagined bad stuff, particularly if I'm tired or emotionally overwhelmed. So if I'm ever tripping out thinking like somebody's thinking this and that, that's always just me thinking stuff. I should remind myself I'm not a mind reader. I'm also not a fortune teller, so if I start thinking something in the future is going to be bad, that's just my imagination. Just stick to the facts. I want to dismiss anything that I'm imagining that there's no evidence for. My emotion's not the truth. I'm not a label. I can usually do anything in opposition to any of those labels. Should, don't get caught in other people's shoulds. Personalization. What's personalization? There's a legitimate perspective. There's no free will. Isn't it true that some top scientists think that we have no free will? Like a lot of top scientists today who are credible, top in their field, think that we probably don't even have free will. Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is it true some top scientists think that we do in fact have free will? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right, so people think different stuff at different times. So I can think different stuff at different times also. And these people, including me, they weren't born thinking any of the shit. And whatever they're thinking, it's not changing the past and it's not changing what is or what isn't in physical reality. Really? Yeah, so I just want to think the shit that works. So if I'm thinking about the past and I feel terrible about it, and I think like, oh, I should have done different, I should have done that, I'll be like, there's probably no free will. I forgive myself. A lot of top scientists, they say there's no free will. If there's no free will, I really couldn't have done anything other than what I did. But I should learn. And then like next time I'll be like, but next time I'm going to do different because I have free will. If I think about the future, I have free will and I'm going to do different next time. And if I do something good, I'll be like, dude, I did good. I could have done bad, but I did good. But then if I'm beating myself up being like, I shouldn't have done that, I'll never forgive myself, I ruined my life, I'll be like, hey, there's probably no free will. A lot of top scientists, they say there's probably no free will. If there's no free will, you really couldn't have done anything other than what you did. You definitely can't do anything different now that it's ancient history. I forgive myself, I forgive that other person. And you can do that because you're not a label. So if somebody says like, are you a determinist? Are you a believer? Are you a nihilist? Are you a, I don't know, not all the time necessarily. Can I change? Can I change to your way of thinking? They say, yeah, if you change to my way of thinking, your whole life will be different. Okay, change now. Now I change officially. I wasn't a I used to be a nihilist, but now how many times do I have to pray to like officially be a believer? I believe in God. Now, wait, not yet. Now, now I really do believe in God. Now I really believe in God. Doesn't that seem ridiculous? There's no fucking like. There's no official designated point. It's just habits of thought. So like I used to go to church. I used to pray to God. I can pray to God right now. Dear God, I hope I have a wonderful day. I really do believe in you. Right now. I did before. When did I officially, like somebody says, like you sound like a nihilist. I used to go to church. When did I officially become there's no official designation. It's just habits of thought. You can just think whatever you can physically think. And if you're having trouble with that, you can help with your tongue. And it's just thoughts. It's just fucking thoughts. Like whatever you think, if there's a God, God doesn't care if you believe in him or not. It doesn't change if there's a God or not. It's just fucking thoughts. So if I'm on my deathbed and I'm really scared about like dying, I'll be like, I'm so sure there's a God. I know there's a God. I know I'm gonna go to heaven. Cool. Think that's working there. But if I'm like I want to do something that might not be my God-given destiny, I'm gonna say there's no fucking God. There's no evidence for fucking God. I just want to think the shit that works because whatever you're thinking, it's not changing physical reality. And it's not changing what is or what is not. It's just fucking thoughts. Doesn't that seem obvious? Doesn't it seem obvious? Doesn't that make sense? Like if somebody says like, are you a determinist? I don't know. Can I change? Can I change to your philosophy? Say, no. One said nihilist, always a nihilist. Well, then why are you even arguing with me? Like, and I didn't used to be. Like I used to go to church. My mom used to take me to church. When did I officially become a nihilist or whatever? There's no official designation. If somebody's calling you a nihilist and you're wondering like, fuck, like, what's my problem? Why am I a nihilist? Your only problem is that you're around some person who's calling you a nihilist. You just need to get the fuck away from that person who's throwing labels at you. That's your only fucking problem. You can just think whatever you can physically think, and you can do whatever you can physically do. But people, they're going to try to stick you with a fucking bad label. They're going to try to say, like, I've been listening to you, and you're this thing. Like, fuck, they're right. Who am I? Who am I to pray to God? You could just pray to God. You could do the redneck shit. You can say the nihilist shit. You can say the Christian shit. You can think anything you can physically think, and if you're having trouble with that, you can help with your tongue, and if you and you can just do whatever you can physically do. It's easier to do that if you remember not a label, and it's easier to not remember your label if you can get the fuck away from those people who are treating you like or talking to you like you're a label. Really? Yeah. You can substantiate that. Can you substantiate that? You're so smart, Sean. Not all the time. Not all the time necessarily. I'm not a label. If somebody also, like, isn't that, I love that idea. Hold on. What was it? Isn't it true that you really could just kind of do anything that you could physically do? And you can think anything you can physically think by just talking. Like, talking is thinking. You're putting words going through your head. That's kind of like a lot of what thinking is, right? And then, it's easier to do whatever you can physically do or think whatever you can physically think if you remember that you're not a label. Are those true? Yes or no?
Yes.
So yeah, you can just do whatever you can physically do. It's easier to do that if you remember you're not a label, but people they're gonna try to stick you with a bad label. But you could just do the opposite of that label. And then even if you can't do the opposite label, you can't really be blamed for it. But usually you can just do, I think you can usually just do the opposite of the label. Anyway, so poo-poo. The world's going to poo-poo my thing. I'm going to get 3 snubs. I'm going to get an assertion of superiority. What does that mean? Somebody's going to assert superiority. I'm still legal. If I'm legally or physically able to do what they do, I'm just going to do it. So there's going to be a comparison to somebody who's way further along. Try not to compare to them. Everyone's my superior in some way. What are the 7 basic bads? I'm bad. Bad is as bad does. I donated to Africa. I volunteered at the Humane Society. I helped my aunt. I'm weak. Weak is as weak does. I do jiu-jitsu. I do CrossFit. I can do 11 pull-ups. I skydive twice. I'm stupid. Stupid is as stupid does. I graduated UC Davis. I got a 1200 on my SATs. I'm ugly. Ugly is as ugly does. The old ladies at my mom's old folks home. The old ladies at my mom's old folks home. They think I'm hot. Really? Well, they think I'm handsome. I don't know if they think I'm hot. But the old ladies, my mom says, oh, the old ladies of my mom's old folks home, they think you're such a handsome man. Really? Yeah. Some people on my YouTube said I look good. I'm unpleasant. Hey, I have over 300 followers on YouTube. There must be something at least entertaining or at least interesting in some awkward way. I'm somehow interesting or I wouldn't have any followers. Sometimes people have told me that I'm interesting. Really? Yeah, but not all the time. I can be boring also, but like I'm interesting sometimes. I'm a loser. Loser is as loser does. I won a fucking gold medal. What else? I won in the Marin County Fair. I won a pumpkin carving contest. I can just read the sheet and I can feel pretty fucking good. I won a pumpkin carving contest. I'm old. Old is as old does. I can do most physical things better than I think like most young people. Really? Yeah, I would say if in terms of like athletics, I could probably do most athletics better than most people in their 20s or teens or whatever. But you can't look as young. I think I could possibly look more attractive than some people in their teens or 20s. But you can't look as young. It's possible there's people who look older than me in their teens or 20s. Or it's possible I could get like dermal filler and Botox. Or I could just do this. I'm young again. I'm a beautiful young person. Everybody's ugly in the inside. Really? Yeah, you could rip somebody's face off and they look ugly in the inside, but you can just cover your face in some makeup and you can look fine. Anyway, I'm not gay. Gay is as gay does. I've never jerked off to a man. I'll have sex with any woman my age and my weight or less. but they got to be over 21. They can't have any diseases, and they can't be in a relationship, and they cannot have at one time been a man. Offer stands indefinitely. Just come over or email me. Email me. I'm down anytime. Really, yeah, really offer stands. So that I'm not trying to hit on any. I'm not trying to be a creep, but I'm just saying, like, I'll have sex. I'll have sex. Sport fucking, like in Fight Club. It's sport fucking. This isn't just not, not love, but like sport fucking. I'll do jujitsu with any man who's roughly close to my weight and age. They can be older too. Actually, it's the reverse with men. With men, I want them to be older, ideally. No, I'll do jujitsu with any man who's close to my weight, and then I'll have sex with any woman who's less than my weight. Yeah, you get the idea. But I'm just saying I'm not gay. I don't want to dedicate all my time and money to some person just because they have a vagina. Anyway, win-win exchange. People should be able to find win-win exchanges. They shouldn't be forced into a lose-win exchange. Just remember, you're not a label, Sean. And just last resort is just do it bad. There's a way to think of yourself as good, but then last resort is just do it bad. Who says you have to be good? As long as you're not breaking any laws. Yeah. Even if you're bad, it's better to be a bad thing doing the good thing. That thing is multiple things. There's a way to think of it as good. There's a voice in my head that says, listen to you, Sean, you're so immature and boring and ridiculous. What makes you think anybody would want to have sex with me? Well, somebody had sex with me a year ago. A year ago, there was a woman from Tinder who had sex with me. And so, yeah, I can write that. Like, I'll say, I had sex with a woman a year ago. I had sex with a woman from Tinder like a year ago. Really, I did. I had lots of sex, no condom. It was great. Really, yeah. I wish I could do that again without it costing a lot of time and money. Tinder's the place for that. Boy, would I like to just get naked with some person. I'd love to get naked with a woman who's my age and my weight or less, who's attracted to me and I'm attracted to them, and just put my dick in and out of her vagina until I orgasm deep into her womb. Really, I would do that. And I don't want any strings attached. I don't want her to like own me or anything like that. It seems like that would be really cool to be able to find. But I imagine there's a lot of other men who are trying to find the same thing. And it's a competitive world. And it's always an overweight ethnic chick. I don't want to be a misogynist. But I know all about overweight ethnic girl. There's always, every time I use Tinder, I'm not complaining. Overweight ethnic girl is arguably better than no girlfriend. A lot of my friends, they are married to an overweight ethnic girl, and there's nothing wrong with overweight ethnic girl. Overweight ethnic girl is arguably better than no girl, but I don't want the overweight ethnic girl. But I'll have sex with her for just like a fling. Like if somebody's an overweight ethnic girl, as long as you don't weigh more than me. Actually, anyway, Lieutenant Dan's wife. Lieutenant Dan's wife. Yeah, just Lieutenant Dan's wife. Dude, I know all about overweight ethnic girl. I know all about overweight ethnic girl. In my youth, I was with many an overweight ethnic girl. I know all about overweight ethnic girl. I know about the Hello Kitty slippers. I know about the boba drink cafe. I know about the family with the traditions, and you want to be respectful of the traditions, and you go to dinner and the mom's like, he knows about the traditions, and you're like, I want to be respectful of the traditions, and then she's like, maybe you can do an activity with the dads. Like, I know all about overweight ethnic girl. I've very familiar with overweight ethnic girl, but like I don't want to marry overweight ethnic. Really, yeah, there's no more. But just for some reason, I don't know what it is, but just if life is a simulation, whoever programmed my simulation, they made something that says this guy has to be with like an overweight ethnic. I don't know why that's the case. Or like, I don't want to be racist, but it seems like just in general, I could be wrong. Don't say some racist stuff, Sean. It's fine. No one's watching anyway. But it really does seem like those are the rules nowadays. Doesn't it seem like that's the rules? Doesn't it seem like if you're a subpar white guy, if life did not go according to plan, and you fucked up your life or you had like an alcohol or drug problem, subpar white guy, it seems like he has to be with like an overweight ethnic girl. I don't know what it is, but basically every time I use Tinder, especially after 40, every single match is an overweight ethnic girl or like a lady from Asia or like a single mom. And there's like, you go into POF, there's an ocean of single moms, and I'm wondering like, where are the dads? Where are all the dads? It's just like, nobody's like, I don't know. I have this theory. Anyway, what's your point? I don't want to talk about toxic shit, but like, anyway, what's your point? Don't say some racist stuff, Sean. I'm not trying to be racist. You're very old. You have bad social standing. You should be happy with overweight ethnic girl. I'm not really attracted to overweight ethnic girl. Overweight ethnic girl is not attracted to you either. But beggars cannot be choosers. I need to be able to get like a boner. That's the thing. It's like I have to be able to get a boner. I can get a boner. Like next time I match an overweight ethnic girl on my Tinder, I'm just gonna say to her like, if we have like 3 shots of Jack Daniels, we can make this happen. It'll be awkward, but if I have like a few shots of Jack Daniels, I can get a boner. And if we use a condom, we can just do it like jiu-jitsu. Just jiu-jitsu. We can do some light rolling and some good in out, and then we can like go our separate ways. Really? That would be fun. It would be cool to just have I think that's most men's like fantasy, is just to be able to have like play dates and just like non-committed just like non-committed sexual engagements with somebody of opposite sex. It's weird that women are so man, life would be so much easier as like a gay male. The gay people, they have it so easy. They could just meet, they go to some bathhouse, they could have sex and just be like, all right, we'll have a good day. For some reason with women, can you explore why that reason is? I know why the reason. I know that women are like, they know that if they get impregnated, they have a thing inside their body. They're also much more prone to I think they're much more in danger of getting a STD because they would be receptive. Like somebody's taking some fluid and expelling it into their body, and they're like, "Bark! You stuck me with a baby," or you stuck me with like an STD. I understand it's more risky for women, but nobody's listening, right? There does seem to be a phenomenon, though. I could be wrong. As a broad generalization with women, it does seem like there's a phenomenon where like when women are younger, they're like, how dare you? I would never do that, because they have like a lot of options. But it does seem like there's this thing where like there's women who are 50 who are like, whatever, like I know you're a scummy man, let's just have a roll in the hay. And so I'm just like, I wonder if a lot of it is like, I wonder if women just are trying to see like what they can get. They're kind of like, let's see if I have a valuable asset that has market value, and I want to get what I can for my, which one, I don't know, whatever it is. It's really hard to find somebody who just wants to have a fling with no strings attached after the age of 40, particularly if you have no job and you live at your dad's house. But that's what I want to do. Really, yeah, I want to have a fling with somebody with no strings attached. So anyway, no one's listening, right? But I'll have sex with anybody my age and my weight or less, but they got to be over 21. They can't have any diseases, and they can't be in a relationship. Offer stands indefinitely. Overweight ethnic chick or no overweight ethnic chick? I know I'm down with overweight ethnic chicks. Really? Yeah, I really think that's like somehow like that's what God, if there is a God seems to want me to be with an overweight ethnic girl. That's fine. I there's nothing wrong with overweight ethnic girl. You think overweight ethnic girl, she's probably rolling her eyes being like, why am I cursed being with dorky white loser guy? I know. That's actually probably true. It's like a year and a half ago, I had sex. Who was it? Just another incarnation of overweight ethnic girl. You're talking about them like they're not even human, John. Another incarnation. She has a name. I know. But for some reason, it's really weird. It's really weird that it's pretty much always an overweight ethnic girl that I match. And again, like, you could like talk about this in lots of different ways. Somebody might say, racist. And I'm just saying, that's how it is. Like, those are the fucking rules of my life. Every woman that I match is either an overweight ethnic girl, lady from Asia, or a single mom. And it's like if life was a simulation, that's like the rules of my simulation. And what's your point? Again, like, nobody's listening, right? I'm not making like a judgment call, but I'm just saying, like, it seems like, I'm not saying any particular dating type of person is better or worse, but it definitely seems harder to date like a hot blonde chick than it is to date like an overweight ethnic girl. I'm not saying one is worse or one is better, but I'm just saying, like, for some reason on my dating app, really hard to match like a hot blonde chick. Really not racist. I'm not saying racist. I'm just saying in terms of difficulty in finding a willing partner, really hard to find a hot blonde chick. Really not as hard to find an overweight ethnic girl. I'm not making a judgment call. It's not a racist thing. I'm just saying, my brother, he only likes black chicks. My friend, he only likes Asians. It's not a judgment thing. I'm just saying, like, in terms of difficulty. Also younger too. There's no way to talk about this. Yeah, you're gonna sound like an ageist or a misogynist no matter how you talk about this. So you should just stop talking about it, Sean. I'll stop talking about it. But I kind of give up at dating. Dating gives up at you too, Sean. Yeah, let's just drop it. All right, so what do you want to talk about? Change the channel. Battle against chaos. The world's gonna try to disperse my thing. I think the world has already dispersed my things. You gotta fight the force of chaos. Don't let the force of chaos disperse more of your things. You gotta maintain your workouts. You can keep your drawing skills. You can keep try to keep the house together. Try to keep your dad alive. Try to keep your dogs from getting killed. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's keep going to jiu-jitsu too, to try to maintain the ability to engage with humans. Just in case, maybe in the future, we'll probably never have sex for the rest of our life, but maybe we can like actually do eye contact in the future and actually just not become, let's try to just do jiu-jitsu and some sort of scheduled chats with people, just to not become an agoraphobic shut-in that can't make eye contact. Yeah, I agree. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes if you try, sometimes you might be able to get what you need. And it seems like a necessity to be able to engage with humans and understand what they're saying and be able to say things back. I would like to maintain that ability. Even if I never have sex for the rest of my life, that would be like a good skill to have. Okay, we'll figure that out. Anyway, I feel really awful. You shouldn't have said that racist stuff. You shouldn't have said the racist stuff. Nobody's out there, right? Nobody's out there. Nobody's watching my bullshit. But think of a dorky white guy that you know in real life. Imagine him, the IT guy, the network engineer, right? The programmer. Think of a dorky white guy that you know in real life, or a couple of them. Think of 2 or 3 dorky white guys that you know in real life. Who are they dating? Isn't it an overweight ethnic girl or a lady from Asia? That seems like the rules nowadays, at least in America. Really? There's so many there's so many there's so many real life examples. Like, if you think about, like, most dorky white guys, nerdy white guy, most of them, they're with like an overweight ethnic girl, lady from Asia. I don't know why. Trent Reznor, really cool guy, kind of nerdy guy. Personally, my childhood hero. He's married to an Asian lady. I'm not making a judgment call, but I'm just like, why is that? Why does the dorky guy have to be with like an Asian lady or an overweight ethnic girl? It's in my neck of the woods in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's like that case for case. Like, pretty much every dorky guy that I know from high school, every single one of them without exception. I know like 20 dorky white guys. They're all with like a lady from Asia or an overweight ethnic girl of some kind. I don't know why. It applies to pretty much all of them. I can think of like 1 or 2 exceptions. I don't know why. And I just want to ask, like, isn't that like the rules in life now? I know you're supposed to say like racist. I know. Besides the fact that you're supposed to say racist, isn't it just kind of like, that's how it is now, right? Like, don't you just think, like, be honest. No one's watching, right? No one's watching, but if you're watching, imagine the IT guy that you know, the dorky white guy. Think of like 2 or 3 random dorky white guys that you know in real life. Friends of yours, peers, people from high school. Who are they dating? Be honest. It's a lady from Asia or overweight ethnic chick, isn't it? That's how it is in here in my neck of the woods. And so what's your point? I think that's like the rules now. I think they should just tell that to kids in school. It's like, here's the rules. Here's the rules. Terrible. That's how it fucking is. Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump, he got a sexy snow bunny. What's a sexy snow bunny? Basically a hot blonde chick. Forrest Gump, he played his cards right. He was brave. He got rich. He invested in Apple stock. What does he have to show for it? Sexy snow bunny. Think of any like super successful guy that you know too, like some super successful studly like guy. Isn't he married to like a sexy snow bunny? Most guys that if I think of like Mr. Success, whoever it is, Mr. Success, like cool badass guy, he's probably got a sexy snow bunny wife. And then like dorky white dude. Remember the in the Beatles? Who was the cool Beatle? The cool Beatle was like Paul McCartney. He got a sexy snow bunny. Dorky Beatle, nerdy Beatle was John Lennon. Who does John Lennon with? He's got to be with the Asian lady. Dorky white guy has to be with an Asian lady or overweight ethnic chick. Woody Allen, typical like dorky white guy. He had a big slew of hot snow bunnies. And then eventually, he's like, I'm a dorky white guy. I gotta be with the Asian lady. Dorky white guy has to be with an overweight ethnic chick or an Asian lady. I don't know why, but those are the fucking rules nowadays. That's the fucking rules. And they should just tell it to kids in school. Those are the fucking rules. If you want a sexy snow bunny, you gotta be badass. You gotta get like a tattoo. You gotta get rich or some combination of those. And if you don't, if things didn't go according to plan, if you weren't brave, if became a subpar white guy, life did not go according to plan, that's cool, man. Consolation prize is going to be overweight ethnic girl. Those are the rules. That's how it fucking goes. Anyway, I could be wrong, but that's how it is in my neck of the woods. All right, if you want to play, you can do different things throughout the day. If you want to win, you should probably go in. Avoid being a drama queen. Try not to make things into a super serious big deal. I want to steer my brain away from constant, repeated negative things. But I want to say some negative shit for sure. What do I want to say? I want to remind myself that I'm going to die. I just want to remind myself that I'm eventually going to get old and die. That's for sure true, right? This is not like a dream I'm going to wake up from or like a simulation. Probably. This is the really real world. I'm going to turn into dust eventually. Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes.
Dude, that's weird. That's very surreal. I'm really going to die. Really, really, as sure as tomorrow, as real as that microphone. I'm as certain as the sunrise tomorrow. Eventually, I'm going to die. That's really weird. Weird. What's your point? It's not weird. It's perfectly normal. Isn't that weird? It's weird to just think like, really, wow, that's really bizarre. It's not bizarre. It's normal. Anyway, so it's good to know. So I shouldn't quit. I shouldn't like take forever. Like next Sunday, I got to go to my improv acting class. I want to have a manageable, enjoyable grind. I don't have like infinite Sundays, and so I flaked out on my improv class. But next Sunday, I'm for sure going to go. And next Sunday, I want to go to jiu-jitsu, open mat also. What else? You're paying for this, Sean. It's your time. You should enjoy your time. I agree. Dude, the fucking animals, dude. What do you have to say about the animals? Dude, the fucking animals, dude. The animals in the slaughterhouses, they have feelings too, right? Those animals... The pigs, the cows, the sheep, they have feelings like our dogs. They're not like plants. Plants don't have a central nervous system. And they definitely feel pain and fear. And they feel a lot of pain and fear when people needlessly stab them to death or take their kids from them or cut their balls off without anesthetic, which humans are doing by the billions to land animals. And it's unnecessary in the case... People don't need to do factory farming today in the Western world. And they don't need to do bow hunting. Are those true? Yes or no? Right.
Yes.
All right, so this is true. Uh, I'm not virtue signaling or something. Let's just say I'm a terrible person. But even if I'm terrible, that factory farming shit is also terrible, and uh, I can't do anything about it. But I can say that it's awful in my limited little world. All right, Sean. Good. You're doing the Lord's work, Sean. Yeah. I don't know. But it just, I don't get why people don't say it. It just seems, isn't like just real basic bad stuff. I don't get it. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Isn't like just getting stabbed to death, like that's like a pretty bad day, right? If somebody stabbed you to death, wouldn't you be like, that's like really like not good. That's like really basic bad stuff. So if it's unnecessary, if people don't need to do it today, why is that not considered bad? Why is unnecessarily stabbing other beings that can definitely feel pain and fear? That seems like really obviously bad. Unnecessary mortal pain fear. That's like real basic bad. It seems obvious. I don't get it. Why is it? Why don't people say it's bad? They're like, no, it's good, but it's not needed. Like people don't have to do it, and they definitely feel pain and fear. They're not like plants. Seems obviously bad, right? Isn't that obviously bad? Isn't mortal pain and fear imposed on others who can definitely feel pain and fear? It's like really obviously like basic bad stuff. Oh, that's good. That's what people have done for thousands and millions of years. Thousands of years. I don't know. People used to murder people too. Like that seems like really. It's really bad for the one that gets stabbed to death. Like if you were getting stabbed to death, wouldn't you say like this is not good? That seems like really like. If we don't have to do it, it seems like really obviously bad. Just saying. I'm just pointing it out. You think you're so good, John. I think I'm bad. Let's say I'm bad. That factory farming seems also bad. But people are animals too. If you love animals, Sean, you should love people. Why don't you just get a job, Sean? My lack of a job is not related to my observation that meat stuff is bad. Even when I had a job, I was saying that stuff seems fucked up. Anyway, rental car. What's Louis C.K. say about rental car? Louis C.K. says there's a thing where he used to go to the rental car place, and they had him return the car, and they had to like fill out a form, and they wanted him to leave like a Yelp review, and they wanted him to like write down the mileage and fill out their little forms. And he said, I normally do all that hubbub, but I was late one day, and so I just skipped all that, and I just left the fucking car at the airport. And the people at the rental car place said, you can't do that. You have to like fill out our form and do our little lockbox and leave our Yelp review. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing any of that shit. And they said, geez, man, you're a terrible person. All right. I guess we'll deal with it. And that was the end of it. And so Louis C.K. figured that out when he was 40. He's like, of course they want you to do all that shit, but if you don't do that, they'll be fine. They'll figure some other way out. And he said like that's something that like 40-year-olds figure out. He said it took him 40 years, and he was like, oh, I can just like not do that shit. He's like, of course they want you to do that shit. So that's a good like thing to remind myself every day. It's just like regularly somebody's gonna come into my world and they're gonna say, you should do this thing that like serves me with your time and money. And I'll be like, oh, like I can just like not do that. And that if you don't do that, sometimes those people, they'll say, bad, you should do that thing where you give me your time and money. And then if you say, I'm bad, but I'm not doing it, you can save like a lot of time. And so what's the point? It's a thing I figured out when I was 42. When I was 40, just like Louis C.K., I was like, oh, I can just like not do that shit. And so probably no one's watching, right? But it's good to like say no to some people who like, and just remember, of course they want you to. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on sex, aging, or death, or ex-girlfriends. I don't want to use Tinder until I go to sleep. What else? I don't want to drive over at 80 miles an hour. I don't want to run stop signs because they might have cameras. I want to give my dad like 1 or 5 minutes of eye contact and patient endurance. Every day my dad's going to want me to talk to him, and he's going to talk at me about some shit that has nothing to do with me, and I'm gonna want to not talk to him. I'm gonna say like, this has nothing to do with me, I gotta go. But I should just look at him and don't feel impatient and just do that. Really, I can do that. My dad pays all my bills, says I can do that. Dude, at the Chevron oil refinery, there's a big flare. There's like flames and smoke coming out of a big pipe. It looks scary. Nobody's out there, right? Just for the record, I live across from the Chevron oil refinery, which used to be Standard Oil. I never knew that until recently. There used to be this company called Standard Oil that was all the oil companies in America, and then it got divided up, like Superman. Superman used to be Superman, and then in the early 90s, Superman died in the comics, and they turned him into these 4 different guys. The new Superman. Man of Steel. Anyway, no one's out there, right? Superman died comic. Yeah, I vaguely remember when I was kind of interested in nobody's out there, right? I was interested in comics, and like when I was like 13, and they had this. I thought this was so cool. Superman died, and then he turned into these 4 different guys. He turned into the like Terminator Superman, Superboy, Cool Superman, and the Man of Steel. He got divided up, and that happened to Standard Oil also. Can you substantiate that? Nobody's watching this, right? I'm wasting my time. Don't let me waste your time. Isn't it true that Standard Oil used to be like the one and only oil company in all of America, but then it got broken up into like Chevron, Shell, and like 1 or 2 other companies? Is that true?
Yes, that's true. Dominance. Standard Oil.
So Standard Oil got broken up into... What were the companies? What were the companies that Standard Oil got broken up into? Chevron, Exxon, and Shell. Are those all of them? Or were there more?
You're right. Chevron.
So it was ConocoPhillips. I've never heard of that. ConocoPhillips Marathon Petroleum. It's in Ohio. And then BP. So really the main ones were Shell, Exxon, Chevron, and BP. Is ConocoPhillips, the gas company, and Marathon Petroleum still in existence in America today?
ConocoPhillips. Yeah.
Huh. So anyway, it got divided up. So that's like Superman, right? Superman, he was one Superman until the early 90s. Superman died in the comics. There was the death of Superman, and then he became 4 Superman characters revived, which included the Man of Steel and like the Man of Tomorrow or something like that, and like some like teenage version of Superman. Is that true? Yes or no?
You're absolutely right.
So Superman got broken up like Standard Oil into the Man of Steel, Cyborg Superman, the Eradicator, and Superboy. Anyway. I feel dorky. I feel dorky. Pray. What do you pray? Dear God, help me to be happy and healthy and have my dreams come true. God bless anybody watching my live stream. Help them to be happy and healthy and have their dreams come true. There, I did that for you. Good things are coming to us in the future. What are you proud of, Sean? I'm proud of remembering Superman. I'm grateful that my dad pays all my bills. I'm excited about frantically masturbating to super hot chicks at the end of the night. What else do you want to... What are you doing today, Sean? Today I'm kind of taking the day off. Today I have no other goal other than to... Actually, I'm really just going to relax for the most of the day. Because my dad is old. My dad is fucked up, and so I have to like help my dad. I should really just pick up the dog poop in my backyard and take my dogs to the dog park, and I might do like a workout and then do some drawing. Today's kind of an off day. I gotta get... Tomorrow I'm going back to jiu-jitsu, and I want to try to work on my social skills. Really, like the main things I really want to do now is I basically just want to help out my dad. I want to maintain my workouts. I want to want to go to jiu-jitsu. I want to handle the errands that I have to do for my dad. And then I want to improve my social skills. I'd love to. I have to consciously do that like a workout. I'm not going to be able to think of it as like, it's going to be some kind of like, I have to like force myself to do it. Anyway, I'll figure it out. It'd be cool to turn it into an enjoyable, sustainable grind. What's an enjoyable, sustainable grind? Basically something that I can do every day, like a workout. It's like, I want to do a 20-minute forced eye contact conversation with people. I should have gone to my fucking, I did all this ranting. I should have just gone to my fucking improv class. I usually regret like wimping out, and sure enough, I wimped out. I should have gone to the improv acting class. It's almost done. Okay, so anyway, just if this video serves for no other purpose, next Sunday I absolutely have to go to my improv acting class. So I'm going to go to improv acting from now on every Wednesday and Sunday, and I have to record it, and then I want to watch it when I do my workout, and I want to iterate. I want to basically watch what I did wrong, try something new, just like jiu-jitsu. I'm going to like learn a new move, and I'm going to awkwardly try the new move next time, and then after like a year I'll be like, hey, I know how to do some stuff. But I wimped out today. Next Sunday I have to go to improv acting. Nobody's out there, right? Have a good day. If somebody watched this, I feel bad that I said all this like boring personal stuff. So I want to try to offer something for watching my boring waste of time stuff. There's a thing called Jog FM, running songs. If you want to start a cardio habit and you find it boring, I find it boring also, but I found out this trick. If you go to Jog FM, they have these different songs that are 88 beats. If you go to Jog FM, you can find some songs that are 88 beats per minute, or 90 beats per minute, or 92 beats per minute. 88 beats per minute songs are a pretty good running pace. Like if you just find some of your favorite songs that are 88 beats per minute, if you just play those when you're running and force yourself to like step to the beat, the beat will kind of like make you run. It kind of is a good way to keep a good pace. And then like 93 beats per minute, like Fighter from Christina Aguilera is a good like 93. It's like 93 beats per minute is like a sprint, or like DMX Party Up is like a sprinting pace. Chicken Fried by Zach Brown is a good like comfortable running pace. Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift is a good song for like a good running pace. You can just step to the beat like a mechanical like autistic person. Anyway, okay.